All right, guys. So on the 7th, Trump held a press briefing and was answering questions. He had his negotiator come up and talk, and I want to play that really quickly, and then I'll kind of get into some specifics afterward.
Making he does. Now he sees a lot of big danger. Come on up, Steve.
Can I ask you the second part of that? Hamas
Just one second,
hostage
please.
video.
I'm going to give you a little report on the hostages, if I can. Steve? Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. President. Wow. Well, I think we're making a lot of progress, and I don't want to say too much because I think they're doing a really good job back in Doha. I'm leaving tomorrow back to go to Doha. But I think that we've had some really great progress, and I'm really hopeful that by the inaugural, we'll have some good things to announce on behalf of the president. I actually believe that we're working in tandem in a really good way, but it's the president, his reputation, the things that he has said that are driving this negotiation, and so hopefully it'll all work out and we'll save some lives. I believe we've been on the verge of it. I don't want to discuss sort of what's delayed it. That's no point to be negative in any way. But I think it's the president, his stature, what he said he expects, the red lines he's put out there. That's driving this negotiation. I'm going back probably either this evening or tomorrow night.
Are you confident there'll be a deal before January 20th, or is that something that's likely to happen? If there's a deal even at all? We've been hearing this now for the better part of.
I know. I would say it better be right. I would say that the president is exasperated. I don't want to talk for him, but look, I don't know anyone who delegates better than President Trump. He gives us a lot of authority to speak on his behalf, and he exhorts us to speak emphatically. And emphatically means you better get it. You better do this, because the alternative.
Do you think they're waiting for President Trump to take office?
No, I think they heard him loud and clear. Better get done by the inaugural.
But when you say all hell must be paid, all hell must be paid if they don't release the hostages.
Well, do I have to define it for you? All hell will break out. If those hostages aren't back, I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East. And it will not be good for Hamas, and it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. They should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that. But there was, and many people are killed. They're no longer hostages. I have people from Israel and others calling, begging me to get, we had also people there from the United States, just so you know. They're holding some so-called hostages from the U.S. But I've had mothers come to me and fathers crying, can I get the body of their son back? Can I get the body of their daughter back? That beautiful girl where they threw her in the car, pulled her by her ponytail and threw her in the car like she was a sack of potatoes. I said, what happened to her? Sir, she's dead. Like a 19, 20-year-old beautiful girl. And the way they treated her. And I just say it this very simply. Steve's got a job to do. He's a great guy, great negotiator, great person. They respect him over there already. It's what we needed over there. We have people that know everything about the Middle East, but they can't speak properly. They don't know. He's a great negotiator. That's what I needed. I could have sent that gentleman right over there, Hussein. He's a great negotiator. There are people, they're rare. Great negotiators are very rare, like a great surgeon. But we have the right person. But I tell this, I don't want to hurt the negotiation. If the deal isn't done before I take office, which is now going to be 2 weeks, all hell will break out in the Middle East. Okay?
All right. Couple of things here. So one, whatever happened to the anti-war president? The right, and this time when I say the right, I mean the media, the right-wing media, has had a field day with this shit going on with the campaign and how he is the best chance for peace, blah, blah, blah. And like all he has done before he's even taken office is posture for war. He's placed numerous people in his cabinet that are known war hawks. He's threatened our biggest allies. He's threatened Canada. He's threatened Mexico. He's threatened the UK. He's threatened fucking Denmark, and he wants to take Greenland. Like, over and over and over. And now he's saying that all hell will break loose if Hamas doesn't release the hostages. Now, it's really funny how one-sided this is. Like, he's not in any way bringing up the genocide that's factually being committed. I say factually because all of the evidence is like it's clear as fuck. They're committing a genocide, and they want to push this narrative. Israel is they in this case that there's no such thing as an innocent Palestinian. They have dehumanized them, and American media has fed into this. They have done the same thing. Like, you can see it in the language they use. This is the left as well, by the way. Like CNN, like both sides do this. It's all like fucking in sync, in unison. Like they're all on the same page. They word things like Hamas says after like factual fucking deaths that occurred due to Israel. Whenever children are killed, when they report it, they say bomb or explosion kills blah blah blah. They don't mention really important details like it was the IDF that caused the explosion. They're like trying to like control the narrative, and it really shows you where their allegiance lies, and that they're not in any way objective in their reporting. This is happening all fucking over. But anyway, I don't want to get into a tangent here. So, you'll notice that the people that were in this time, well, actually both the media and individuals in general that were touting the whole anti-war candidate for Trump, you'll notice because they're in a cult, because they don't actually care about any of the things they claim that they care about, they're not angry. They don't care. The truth is Trump can do whatever he wants because the people that vote for him don't have values. They don't, they're like brainwashed. They're literally in a cult. So it doesn't matter that he lies constantly. It doesn't matter that he's now for 2 times went back on his guarantee that the cost of eggs, the cost of living, all of this stuff was going to be fixed. Now he's twice now went back on it and said that he's probably not going to be able to do it, that it's difficult. Like, this is not just now, even in the first term, this is his MO. He always just spouts lies, and his base doesn't care. It doesn't matter. Like, policy is not important to them. They worship this man. This is like a god to them. And it's hilarious because he's an absolute imbecile. He doesn't understand basic politics. He doesn't understand anything about foreign affairs. He's just he just blusters and acts like he's a tough dude. He's similar to Putin, which, again, that's another problem. He sucks Putin's dick, and Putin is one of the biggest threats to world peace. So, yeah, there's that. The hilarity of calling him the anti-war president. And then there's that he's only covering one side, and the incorrect side, by the way, on this. He's threatening Hamas. Like, it's worth noting that the hostages are basically the only leverage Hamas had, because Hamas doesn't pose a serious threat to Israel. They never have. And that's why Israel is basically clamped down like with like a knee to their fucking neck for years, even before October the 7th. Like, you're not told about what happened before then, and it's really telling. So why does Hamas have hostages? Because Israel has been trying to destroy, not Hamas, that's what they say, but they've been trying to destroy Palestinians for a long, long time. So essentially, they're desperate. They do whatever the fuck they can to survive. And you would do the same thing if you were in their position. I guarantee you would. Sure, you could say that it's evil, and to some extent, it's you could question the morality. But what else the fuck are you going to do? You're standing up against an extremely, like a vastly superior force. Your only choice is to engage in like guerrilla warfare and to do whatever it takes to fucking have leverage against the opposing side. So one of the big issues here is it's not really leverage. Like not as much as they wanted it to be. And I will lay that out here. I'm going to read part of this article, which goes into the truth here of why. Well, one, why the hostages aren't important to Israel, and two, why Hamas hasn't released the hostages. On Sunday, Netanyahu rejected a Hamas proposal to end the war and release more than 100 captives held by the group in exchange for a withdrawal of Israeli forces, the release of Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails, and recognition of Hamas government over Gaza. A look into the history of Hamas among Palestine's most popular resistance fronts suggests that its political leadership has over the years proposed numerous long-term truces or ceasefires to Israel in exchange for the realization of a sovereign independent Palestinian state. Israel has rejected those offers, arguing that Hamas could not be trusted to adhere to any long-term ceasefire and insisting that the proposals for short-term pauses in fighting were insincere and strategically aimed only at helping the armed movement regroup from losses. Sunday was only the latest instance of Israel rebuffing those offers. So, of course, Israel claims that they can't be trusted, blah, blah, blah. There's no evidence of that. Historically, anytime Hamas has made a deal, they have been the ones to keep their end, and Israel has been the ones to break these deals. And also, Israel has violated international law, especially in the West Bank, repeatedly. The UN, a vast majority of its member states have criticized Israel for their fucking illegal shit and their current genocide. Generally, like on the grand stage, like there's like 2 to 3 countries and mainly the United States that constantly backs Israel, even though Israel's the fucking bad guy in this case. So here's more evidence for it. 1988, just 1 year after the group was founded, Hamas leader Mahmoud al-Zahar met the late top Israeli officials Yitzhak Rabin and Shimon Peres and proposed that Israel withdraw from the 1967 occupied territories in exchange for a truce. This was before Hamas had built its armed wing, the Qassam Brigades. Also, in 1988, Hamas founder Sheikh Ahmad Yassin himself indicated a willingness to negotiate with Israel under the condition that it first acknowledge the Palestinian people's right to self-determination and right of return to their land. You'll notice that most of the time, what Hamas wants in these negotiations is simply to be left alone and to be recognized as sovereign. So, don't fucking take our territory. Don't make up bullshit excuses to fucking kill our people and then let fucking colonial bullshit happen and then have a bunch of Jewish settlers take our land. Basic shit. But you hear completely a whole different story when it comes to the fucking narrative that Israel pushes, which is the same narrative coincidentally, well, not coincidentally, that the US media pushes. 1994, Hamas offered a truce to Israel after the abduction and killing of Israeli soldier Nashon Wachsman. A year earlier, the Palestinian Authority had accepted the proposal of a Palestinian state comprised of the West Bank, Gaza Strip, and East Jerusalem. Hamas agreed to that proposal. 1995, Hamas again proposed a 10-year truce based on the same condition of Israeli withdrawal from occupied territories. 1996. In March, after Israel assassinated Hamas military leader Yahya Ayash, in January, the movement offered a ceasefire. 1997, September, days before Israel attempted to assassinate Hamas political leader Khaled Meshal in the Jordanian capital, Amman, the movement offered Israel a 10-year truce. October, after his release from Israeli prison, Hamas founder Yassin renewed the call for a ceasefire. November, Hamas again proposed a truce. The Qassam Brigade said attacks against Israeli civilians would stop if Israel stopped targeting Palestinian civilians. Notice that the civilian targeting was in response to Israel already having done this shit, but you're not told that. 1999, Yassin made another ceasefire offer provided Israel withdrew from the 1967 territories. In a letter to European diplomats, Hamas offered to cease all hostilities in exchange for Israeli withdrawal, evacuation of settlements, and release of Palestinian prisoners. Another thing to note here is that Israeli seizing of territory is one of the things that I mentioned that was against international law. It was condemned internationally. So they shouldn't even have to offer concessions for them to give that land back because it's illegal. Anyhow, 2003, in December, Yassin offered a ceasefire on the condition that Israel withdraw from the Palestinian territories. He was killed 4 months later in an Israeli attack. 2004, Yassin's successor and Hamas co-founder Abdel Aziz al-Rantizi again proposed a 10-year truce. Israel killed him 1 month after Yassin. 2006, Hamas again offered a 10-year truce that would be automatically renewed if Israel commits to restoring the full and legitimate rights of the Palestinian people to them within a final solution that matches what is accepted by the PLO. 2007, senior Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh repeated the group's call for a Palestinian state within the 1967 borders. 2008, Hamas leader Meshal again offered a 10-year truce, which he repeated a year later. 2014, Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad offered a 10-year truce in exchange for the lifting of the Israeli blockade and release of Palestinian prisoners. 2015, Hamas proposed a long-term ceasefire in exchange for the lifting of the blockade. 2017, Hamas presented its revised charter announcing that it accepted a Palestinian state in the 1967 borders. So yeah, not going to read all of this. I will provide the link, but it's just to kind of fucking destroy this bullshit narrative that well, one, you're never, if you're a U.S. citizen, unless you go seeking this out, you're not told all of this. You believe all the bullshit. You hear President Trump do his little fucking retard dance, and you're like, yeah, they started everything on October the 7th. They're just defending themselves. No, they're fucking not. They're committing a genocide, and they were doing it even before October the 7th. The Palestinians have historically been the ones to stick to their word and have fucking attempted numerous times to try to deal with the fucking bloodthirsty Israelis and get them to fucking just basically leave them alone. And each time they've rebuffed it because on it, like, obviously Israel, it's not about defending themselves. It's not about like Hamas is a threat to Israeli security, blah, blah, blah. It's Israel wants to take everything. They want to destroy the people, completely kill them so that there's no fucking chance of them ever rising up again, even though Israel, for the most part, has been on the offensive the entire time. They're the ones always that ends up fucking causing the killing, makes up bullshit excuses for it, and a lot of the world is just quiet about it. So here's the actual facts of the matter and all of the times. And again, this is what Trump doesn't mention. He doesn't mention that the reason why they have hostages is because Netanyahu cares more about destroying Palestinians and completely fucking finishing his genocide than he does his hostages. He doesn't give a shit about them. He's had numerous opportunities to fucking have the hostages back, and he's also had numerous opportunities to stop fucking hostility in general toward Palestine. And yeah, you're just given a whole bunch of fucking bullshit as usual. It should be obvious by now. It won't be to some of you who are brainwashed, but there's generally no hope for you anyhow. So yeah, thank you for your time.